Good morning. Welcome back to Southern Extreme TV. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It is basically Christmas morning for deer hunters here in my home state. It is opening day of rifle season. Bucks are starting to kind of cruise around, check does, coming in behind does. Not really full-blown chasing yet, but they're definitely out there seeing what's happening, and they're starting to figure out the pecking order. So it's going to be a good morning. It's just a little on the warm side. It's actually like, I think it's in the mid 40s, upper 40s, which is not great. Really, we want to see those temperatures down into the 30s around this time. Tomorrow morning is supposed to be better. It's supposed to be down into that upper 30 range. Still a little warm, but definitely a lot better conditions than what this morning's going to be. But we're going to make the best of the situation. And we're basically going to set this real big observation field. We're going in super early, going to take our time getting in. And our plan is, we've got a lot of hunting pressure around us at this area, is that these other hunters that have never been hunting or have not been hunting this season, they're going to get in there and they're going to stir and push all these deer up. And hopefully they want to come over onto us for some safety bedding, and hopefully we can catch them in that transition right there. So feeling good about it. I think we're going to see some deer. We just need to make sure we see the right deer. So let's go get set up, and I'll see you guys at daylight. All right, we are officially in rifle season. We have got the Stick and String 10-point put up for the year. Everything's been a little dead. We haven't seen any deer, heard any deer, and our trail cameras are pretty dead right now too. So I'm hoping it's gonna be I'm hoping they're gonna move mid-morning maybe. Usually hunting this spot, getting in early, right as the sun, everything kind of starts to lighten up in this field. You can see one or two deer kind of slowly grazing their way back into their bedding area. But we didn't see that this morning, so I don't know what the deal is there. I think we got a little bit of rain last night. Everything's kind of wet. So they may have bedded down the last couple hours, which would be a good thing, I feel like, because then they would get back up to either change bedding areas or get up to feed for just a little bit. We're going to try to be ready. Hopefully it happens this morning. Well, we seen a doe and a little one come running by. Thought I could hear something on this ridge behind me. But seen the doe and a little one come running through. We've heard 4 shots that were really close. Just about the only shots that have been close. Or the only shots that we've heard have all been close. Which, this little area right here, you get about 5 more days, there won't be any deer left. And I don't know how the neighbors can kill 57 deer a year, but it happens. That's the biggest reason why we try to hunt this spot kind of hard the opening week. Because pretty much if you don't get them killed in the first couple of days here, then you might as well just hang it up. But trail cameras really just started going off on some of the other properties around 7:30, 7:45. So I still think that there's some deer moving around. Don't really know if they're moving around in this area just with the amount of hunting pressure. We're gonna give it a little while longer and just see what happens. It's always that love-hate relationship with rifle season, you know. Confidence level just goes way up being able to sit in here with the Springfield 308. But the fact that you're dealing with very small parcels of land, and just about every parcel of land, whether it's 2 acres, 1 acre, half an acre, there's multiple people hunting every patch. I mean, a deer has no safety, no sanctuary here, really anywhere in this county. So we're gonna hang out, see what happens. Fighting a losing battle, but can't kill them laying in bed. Well, as depressing as this morning was, with gunshots and lack of deer activity, this afternoon is probably going to be worse. It is 75 degrees on opening day of rifle, so it's pretty brutal. But I've never really and truly wanted to kill smart deer. I've always been attracted to the dumber breed of deer. And if we have a dumb deer running around, then 75 degree weather in November would be a dang good time for a dumb deer to want to move. I left all the stuff up in the tree. Coming over here late. I mean, it's 4 o'clock. I mean, I'm just not coming out and setting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with it 80 degrees. Plus, we've got the wind swirling everywhere, and I would probably, in my opinion, do more harm than good. So, we'll go slide in the stand and wish for the best. That's all we can do. Thanks for hanging out. We're in here, and as you can see by my camera moving, the wind is ripping pretty good, and it's about as hot as what I was expecting to. Feels like it's 159 degrees out here. That's why we don't have a established rut anymore, it feels like. I mean, these deer can get bred in March and still survive the winter, because we don't have a winter. But news is we're not at work. It's about the only good news I can come up with right now, so we're trying to stay on the positive side of things, if that's even possible. So we're in here for a stand. We got 2 hours before it gets dark. Who knows? I don't know. Ain't no telling. I think every deer in this county is dead anyway by now. We'll see what happens. Well, guys, we had a doe and a yearling come out in this corner all the way down this left-hand side. I mean, she came out and I don't know if she was looking at the corn or if she was looking at me. I couldn't really tell because the corn is directly in between us and her. But she was pretty dang nervous. And basically just cut that corner and went up into the woods. But she never blew or went back the way she came from, so I'm almost wondering if there's a chance that a buck is behind her. So I've got the gun positioned on that left-hand side just in case. That's really the worst spot in this entire field for them to come out at, because it pretty much silhouettes me, because this field is shaped like a boomerang. I have the absolute most exposure right there from a visual aspect. Everything else in front of me and to my right is not a big deal. So if there is a buck that follows that same trail, which there's a good chance there is, because that wind is blowing straight through that corner, then we just need to be ready and make as little movement as possible to try to get on that deer to shoot him.
running out into the field, and you could tell there was just like no real reason for them to have just been running out. And at one point, that mama doe, she was looking back there into the woods where they came from. So I mean, I knew there was another deer in there, and it was just a little old shitty spot. I tell you, that spike is lucky because you don't have far to go, and all three of them deer will be shot before the sun sets. All he's got to do is cross that creek onto the neighbors, and it's gonna be on. Smokes. That deer right there is absolutely sprinting. Is that the doe? My God. The little buck was dogging her. The little spike was messing with her hard. She ran all the way back across this field and back into the woods where she came from. So that ain't good. Because if she's starting to get spicy, then that big deer coming just went down the old poop chute. Probably got about 15, 20 more minutes of shooting line left. So just try to stay positive, hope for the best. It's the next morning. We wound up yesterday afternoon seeing 3 deer. Well, no, actually 5 deer. No, 7 deer, sorry. We had a doe and a little one come through. Then we had a spike chase a big mama doe and a yearling across the field. They eventually went back into the woods where they came from. And then we had another group of 2 does come into the field, but there was a bobcat that was out there mousing around, and them does had that one bobcat pegged. And when they went walking up to that bobcat, that bobcat chased those deer for probably 300-400 yards across that field. But it was getting on. It was getting on pretty dark. Definitely way too dark for the camera to see. But nonetheless, that bobcat is no longer with us. It was all cool and all until he started chasing my deer. He started chasing the deer. That's when things took a turn for the worse for him. We're hunting a completely different type area this morning. We're in a super thick cutover. And this this cutover. It's a two-part cutover. The cutover behind me was done probably 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years before the cutover in front of me. So basically we're just in this little transition strip between really thick cutover and still thick but not as thick cutover. This is a good spot whenever there's a mountain that connects this property up top. When that property up top starts getting really pressured, some of those better deer will suck off down into this bottom, into this cutover, and they just won't leave this cutover. And this is a very easy path in, very easy path out. I'm just hoping with all the disturbance yesterday, that maybe some of these deer push down in here in the afternoon and at night time, and that's where they're going to start spending a little bit more time. So it's just now cresting daylight enough where y'all can see. So hopefully we'll have some deer movement here before too much longer. I'll keep you guys in the loop. Well, what's going on, guys? We are hunting throwing a complete audible right here and hunting a spot that I've not hunted in probably 3 years if I was a betting man. On the power line. We've got a bunch of deer signed through here. Also looks like a bunch of turkeys have been in here pretty heavy, but there's a fresh scrape coming up this power line and a fresh rub. So makes me feel like a buck has probably been in here within the last 48 hours from what I can tell. It's very tight in here. It's extremely tight, but it's a spot where we have the potential for just a random deer that we've never seen before to show up, because there's a lot of property that surrounds this area, and going into those type of areas is not a bad idea when things are getting really pressured. People are hunting hard right now, and that causes deer just to kind of move around on the checkerboard, if you will. Got a trail camera working, or had a trail camera up here. Wild Game Innovations is probably the absolute worst trail cameras I've ever witnessed in my entire life. We've been trying to get this trail camera to work for 3 months now, and it won't work. So we're getting ready to just throw them all away. But we're in here. We probably got 2 hours, maybe 45 minutes. So all we can do is sit back and wait and hope that we get lucky. against my better judgment, I let that doe go because she didn't blow. She knew something was up, and she crossed the power line and went on about her business. And then that hoe came back, literally came back out into the power line and proceeded to blow for however long. I got the camera up and on her, but we've got this stand in a bad spot. We need this stand to be on the other side of this power line so that you're left-handed. You know, if you're right-handed shooter, shooting to your left is easier. But I promise you right now, if she comes back out in this power line and keeps blowing, she is going to catch. I'm shooting her right in the throat. Our wind has done a complete 180. So that doesn't help the situation at all. Unbelievable. Down there in the bottom. Tree that I've seen is pretty good ways off down there in the bottom. The scrape looked like the deer was coming up out of the bottom. But a lot of times this time of year, them deer blowing, it won't bother those bucks all that bad, because them does, when they start getting pushed around and chased by them younger bucks, sometimes they'll blow just to try to get them to leave them alone. So really, there's a chance that her blowing might actually help, because any buck that's in the area, he knows that there's a doe over here now, so might make him want to come check it out, see what's going on. If the stand would have been swapped where I could have had she was on my strong side, as soon as she come out and started blowing, she was going to catch one right to the forehead.
That is it for today's video. We have been really hunting hard this opening week. Seen some deer, but the warm weather and the hunting pressure has pretty much stumped us. But we've seen some deer, just not really the deer that we're looking to pull the trigger on. So we still got a lot of season left, and we got some temperatures that are dropping going into next week, which is going to be a very big deal, I believe. So, you know, keep those fingers crossed, and hopefully we're going to get a couple good bucks on the ground before season's out. So we're going to keep hunting hard. We've got 1 or 2 out-of-state trips left. I'm going to go do some public ground type stuff. So I'm super excited about that, and excited to bring you guys along for it, hunting some new stuff. Just trying to do some different things on the channel and see how many times we can pull the trigger this year. So thanks for hanging out with me. If you guys are new to Southern Extreme TV, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are trying to grow this thing to 100,000 subs. So every click gets me a little bit closer to that goal. And if you've already subscribed, make sure you share. That puts it in front of people that don't know about our channel. It means a lot, guys. Thanks for hanging out. See y'all on the next episode.